Have you ever wondered why some people seem untouched by time? Why certain faces carry a kind of ageless glow, while others seem weighed down by the years? It's tempting to think it's about genetics, diet, or skincare, but Alan Watts would say the real answer lies much deeper. He believed that youthfulness has less to do with the body and more to do with the spirit, the way we see and meet life itself. To appear younger than your age, in Watts's view, is not a biological accident. It's a reflection of how freely you flow with existence. It's the natural radiance of someone who has stopped fighting time and started dancing with it. Watts often said that the tragedy of modern life is that we grow old too quickly, not in body, but in soul. We become so burdened by seriousness, ambition, and control that we forget how to play. And once play disappears, so does vitality. He reminded us that the divine is not solemn. It laughs, it flows, it experiments. The person who appears young, no matter their years, is someone who has remembered that. Their eyes still carry wonder. Their mind still says yes to the present moment. Age, Watts would say, does not live in your body. It lives in your resistance to life itself. To appear younger than your age, then, is not about pretending or denying the years. It's about alignment. It's what happens when you stop clinging to the past or racing toward the future and begin to be where you are. Watts described this as a kind of inner relaxation, a surrender to the eternal now. When you stop trying to hold time still, time seems to hold you more gently. The tension that ages the spirit begins to dissolve, and what remains is the natural lightness of being, the effortless grace of someone who is not afraid to exist. There's something magnetic about those people. They walk into a room, and it feels as if life is walking with them. It's not vanity or energy in the superficial sense, it's presence. They radiate the same aliveness that children do, not because they are untouched by pain or hardship, but because they have learned not to carry it longer than necessary. Watts would say that such people live with a wisdom of impermanence. They do not fight against time, because they know that everything fleeting is also beautiful. And maybe that's the secret we've all been missing. Appearing younger than your age is not a miracle of skin. It's a miracle of awareness. It's what happens when you finally stop trying to outsmart time and instead begin to trust it. When you stop clinging to identity and expectation, life starts moving through you freely again. And in that freedom, the spirit shines brighter than the years can ever dim. As Watts once said, the meaning of life is just to be alive. Perhaps that's also the secret to eternal youth. Alan Watts often said that aging is not a tragedy, but our idea of aging is. He believed that the reason some people appear younger than their age is because they never let that idea harden inside them. They understand that time is not an enemy. It's a rhythm, a wave that rises and falls, and they've learned how to move with it. Most of us, however, fight against it. We measure ourselves against calendars, birthdays, and mirrors, trying to slow down what was never meant to be stopped. Watts reminded us that this very resistance, the constant tension of not wanting to grow old, is what truly ages us. When you resist life, you tighten against its natural flow, and that tightness is visible in everything you are, your face, your body, your energy. He often used water as a metaphor for this state of being. Water doesn't grow old. It flows, it adapts, it reflects the light of whatever surrounds it. The person who remains youthful in spirit is like water, fluid, open, and unafraid of change. They have stopped trying to hold on. Watts explained that we age in spirit when we cling, when we refuse to let go of the way things used to be or who we used to be. The illusion of control is what stiffens us, not time. When we learn to let go, truly let go, the current of life carries us effortlessly, and that effortless state manifests as youth. Watts would often laugh at the modern obsession with self-preservation. You cannot live fully if you are constantly trying not to die, he said. That same truth applies to aging. You cannot remain vibrant if your focus is on not growing old. The irony is that those who chase youth most desperately lose at the fastest, because they treat life as a problem to be managed rather than a miracle to be experienced. The ones who appear younger are not those who deny their years, but those who are so immersed in living that they forget to count them. To Watts, youthfulness was not a stage of life, but a state of awareness. It's what happens when you stop defining yourself by time. He saw life as a continuous dance, and those who remember the rhythm never grow rigid. The young soul laughs easily, forgives quickly, and adapts without fear. This inner looseness, the ability to flow with uncertainty, is the secret that keeps the spirit luminous. The person who clings to control, on the other hand, grows brittle long before the body does. Their laughter fades, their curiosity dies, and they mistake safety for vitality. That's why what's often said, to be alive is to be a little bit out of control. The ones who appear young are those who allow life to surprise them. They live not as planners of the future, but as participants in the unfolding mystery of the present. It's not about escaping time, it's about dancing with it. And in that dance, age loses its meaning, because what's reflected in their face and energy is not the passing of years, but the timelessness of being itself. Alan Watts believed that the secret to staying young is not found in defying nature, but in aligning with it. You are the universe playing hide and seek with itself, he said, meaning that the same energy that moves the stars also breathes through you. When you forget this connection, when you begin to see yourself as separate, as a small being fighting against life, you begin to age, not in the body first, but in the mind. The separation creates a constant background of tension, a sense of struggle against everything that changes. Those who seem ageless, however, live in harmony with impermanence. They do not cling to their past selves, nor fear their future ones. They see every version of themselves as part of the same dance of the cosmos. To Watts, the tragedy of adulthood is that we forget how to play. As children, we move through life in pure spontaneity, open to wonder, free from calculation. Then, slowly, society trains us to suppress that openness. We start taking life seriously, as if it were a mission with objectives and deadlines. We stop laughing at small things. We start caring about status, control, and appearances. And as that seriousness takes root, something sacred begins to fade. The soul stiffens, and with it, the spark of youth dims. The people who appear young are those who never let that playfulness die. They carry within them what's called the divine fool, the part of us that knows how to dance in chaos and smile in uncertainty. This doesn't mean living without responsibility or awareness. It means living without the burden of self-importance. Watts explained that the weight of ego is what truly ages us. When we are constantly defending who we think we are, constantly comparing, proving, or fearing judgment, we lose touch with the lightness of being. Every worry, every mask, adds another invisible year to the spirit. But when you begin to see the absurdity of it all, the beautiful, cosmic joke of pretending to be separate, you can finally laugh again. And in that laughter, the years seem to fall away. Watts often said that the universe is fundamentally playful, that existence is not a task, but a performance, a dance, a song. The people who appear younger than their age have remembered this truth. They are not rushing toward meaning. They are playing with it. They don't ask, what is the purpose of life? They live as if life is the purpose itself. In their presence, time seems to pause because they are not caught in it. They have stepped out of the timeline of worry and into the eternal now, the only place where life truly happens. And perhaps that's why such people shine. Their youthfulness is not cosmetic, it's spiritual. It's what happens when you stop fighting against the current of existence and begin floating with it. When you realize that every wrinkle, every year, every breath is just another expression of life's ongoing art. Watts would say that to appear young is to remember what life really is, a miracle that needs no defense, only awareness. When you live from that space, time can touch your body, but never your spirit. Alan Watts often said that we do not live in time. We are time. Every heartbeat, every thought, every breath is the universe expressing itself as this particular moment. And yet, the reason so many people seem to age faster than their years, he explained, is because they resist that flow. They live as if time were an enemy to be conquered, rather than a river to be sailed. To appear younger than your age, in his view, is to stop seeing time as something that takes from you, and start seeing it as something that creates you moment after moment. It is to realize that growing older is not a decay. It's a dance. When you are in tune with that rhythm, life becomes lighter, and your spirit reflects that ease. For Watts, one of the greatest illusions is the idea of a fixed self. We cling to the image of who we were at 20 or 30, as if that version of us were the true one, and everything after is decline. But in truth, there was never a stable you. What we call I is a continuous process, always changing, like a flame that keeps its shape while burning new fuel every second. To appear youthful is to understand this deeply, to stop trying to preserve who you were, and instead embrace who you are now. The people who glow with agelessness have let go of identity. They allow themselves to die and be reborn every day. What's compared this to the seasons? Spring never tries to be winter, and autumn doesn't mourn the loss of summer. It simply transforms. The person who ages gracefully, who seems younger than the years on their skin, has learned the same art. They've stopped resisting the turning of their own seasons. They move with life rather than against it. They don't cling to the past or fear what's coming, because they understand that everything in nature, including themselves, exists in cycles. That acceptance creates peace, and peace, Watts said, is what makes a soul radiant. He often laughed at humanity's obsession with permanence. If you cling to life, you lose it, he said, and if you let go, it returns to you in abundance. The same is true of youth. The more desperately you chase it, the faster it runs away. But when you let go, when you stop trying to look young and start feeling alive, something magical happens. Energy flows again. Curiosity returns. The body may age, but the presence behind the body becomes luminous. That's why, as Watts observed, some elderly people seem younger than those half their age. Their spirit never closed its eyes to the wonder of being. The deeper meaning of appearing younger, then, has nothing to do with beauty routines or longevity. It's about surrender. It's about releasing the illusion of control, the endless fight against time, and falling into harmony with existence. When you surrender, the universe begins to move through you instead of around you. You laugh more, worry less, and radiate something the world cannot quite define, but always feels drawn to. What's we call presence? Others might call it youth. But in truth, it's the same thing, the timeless essence of being fully alive. Watts believed that our obsession with appearing young on the outside is a reflection of our deep fear of death. We live in a culture that worships the beginning and fears the end, a society that sees aging as failure rather than fulfillment. But, he said, this fear stems from a misunderstanding of what we truly are. You are not something that was born into this world. He would remind his listeners, you are the world. The body ages, the face changes, but the awareness that looks out through your eyes is as ancient as the stars. To appear younger than your age is to live in that recognition, to know that your essence is timeless, and that the outer form is just the costume life wears for a while. He often explained that this understanding transforms how you carry yourself. When you know you are not merely a body moving toward death, but consciousness expressing itself through experience, the anxiety about time begins to dissolve. That relaxation shows in your eyes, in your movements, even in your skin. You stop living from fear and start living from freedom. You begin to play again, not because you're pretending to be young, but because you've stopped believing that youth can ever truly leave you. Watts said that play is the pulse of the universe. It's how existence creates, experiments, and evolves. To stay playful is to stay connected to the creative energy that keeps the cosmos alive. That's why, in his philosophy, laughter is sacred. Laughter is the sound of life, recognizing its own absurdity. It's the moment awareness looks at itself and says, ah, I see, it was all a game. The person who can laugh easily, even at themselves, carries the spirit of eternal youth. They are not trapped in the seriousness of ego. They don't cling to roles, labels, or pride. Watts saw this as the mark of true maturity, not taking oneself too seriously. To him, aging gracefully was not about preservation, but perspective. The ability to see life as play allows one to move through change without resistance, and that freedom becomes visible as vitality. Watts often contrasted this state with the heaviness of those who live only for control. He described them as spiritually rigid, their minds so consumed with order, power, and certainty that they suffocate their own aliveness. Control, he said, is the great thief of youth. The more we try to control life, the more it slips away from us. The people who appear young have learned to trust the flow. They still plan, they still act, but they don't cling to outcomes. They understand, as Watts put it, that the meaning of life is to feel alive while it happens. Ultimately, the deeper meaning of appearing younger than your age is that it's not about appearance at all. It's about alignment. When you align with the natural rhythm of existence, when you live in harmony with impermanence and laugh with the flow of time, youth ceases to be something you lose. It becomes something you are. Watts would say that the universe, too, is ageless. It is forever becoming new. And when you remember that you are part of that eternal becoming, you stop counting the years and start living the moment, glowing from the inside out, untouched by the weight of time. Alan Watts believed that the way we perceive time determines how it shapes us. He said that most people grow old too soon because they live in a constant psychological race, always chasing what's next or running for what is past. Their minds are stretched across moments that no longer exist, and this tension leaves an imprint on their spirit. To appear younger than your age, Watts explained, is to live outside that race. It's to rest fully in the present moment, where life is not divided into then and later, but simply is. Presence, he would say, is the true elixir of youth, because when you are truly here, time cannot touch you. In his lectures, Watts often compared the human experience to listening to music. Most people, he said, listen for the final note, rushing toward the end without realizing that the joy lies in the melody itself. That's how we treat our lives, rushing through moments as if they were steps toward some grand conclusion. But when you truly listen, when you stop trying to reach the end, you discover that the beauty was always in the movement. The people who appear young have learned to live this way. They're not obsessed with what's coming or mourning what's gone. They're fully engaged with the music of now. And that engagement, that immersion, keeps their energy vibrant and their presence magnetic. Watts also spoke about the connection between tension and aging, not just in the body, but in consciousness. He observed that when people are constantly anxious, clinging, or striving, their energy contracts. The mind becomes heavy, the body follows, and even the light in their eyes fades. But when a person learns to trust life, their energy expands. They radiate calm, ease, and a quiet confidence. That openness is what we perceive as youth. It's not about years. It's about the degree of trust you place in the flow of existence. The more you resist, the older you feel. The more you trust, the lighter you become. For Watts, the key was surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but of letting go. To surrender is to stop fighting the current and realize that you are the current. It's to see that life is happening through you, not to you. And when you live from that awareness, your actions become effortless. Your presence becomes soft, yet powerful. The paradox, Watts noted, is that the more you surrender, the more control you actually gain, not over life, but over your peace. That peace expresses itself physically as grace, emotionally as calm, and spiritually as timelessness. That's the kind of beauty no mirror can measure. He often summarized it like this: the person who lives life as if every moment is a gift never grows old, because they never stop receiving. Youthfulness, in the deepest sense, is gratitude embodied. It's the look in someone's eyes when they realize that every breath is an opportunity to begin again. The people who age the slowest are those who never stop beginning. They're not frozen in time. They're flowing with it, each day reborn, each moment fresh. Watts would say that such a person doesn't merely live life, they love it. And love, in its purest form, never grows old. Watts often explored the illusion of linear time, the belief that life moves in a straight line from birth to death. He argued that this illusion is the true source of aging, because it traps us in the story of decline. In truth, he said, time is cyclical, like the changing of seasons or the ebb and flow of tides. Everything that fades is reborn in another form. The people who appear younger than their age have understood this intuitively. They don't see themselves as running out of time, but as part of time's rhythm. They see aging not as a descent, but as transformation, a new expression of the same eternal dance. In this sense, Watts said, death and aging are not opposites of life, but continuations of it. When you fear change, you harden. When you embrace it, you stay fluid. Think of a tree, he said. The ones that resist the wind break easily, but the ones that bend survive for centuries. Youthfulness is flexibility of spirit, the ability to bend without breaking, to flow without losing form. That flexibility comes from trust, from knowing that no matter how life changes, you are not losing anything real. The outer form may shift, but the essence, the consciousness behind it all, remains untouched, unaged, eternal. Watts would often point out that the faces of those who live in alignment with life seem to carry the calm of the ocean itself. Their beauty is not perfection, it's peace. Their youth is not denial, it's acceptance. When you stop trying to escape impermanence, you start to embody its grace. These people have stopped worshiping time and started witnessing it. They watch it pass like clouds across the sky, knowing that they too are part of that same sky, vast, unbounded, and ever-changing. And when you live like that, the lines on your face become poetry, not evidence of loss. He also believed that society's obsession with appearing young comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of beauty. Real beauty, he said, is the visible expression of harmony. It's not in symmetry or smoothness, but in presence. The person who has made peace with time radiates something that cannot be faked. It's the light of awareness shining through form. Watts would say that such a person has not escaped aging. They've transcended it. They no longer fear time because they've realized they are time, and what is one with time can never truly age. So, to appear younger than your age is not to resist nature. It is to return to it. It is to live without the armor of fear, to feel deeply without clinging, to laugh easily without reason. It is to exist as nature itself does, unhurried, curious, and alive in every moment. Watts taught that the secret of youth lies in the courage to let life live you. Because when you stop being the observer trying to control the story, and instead become the story being told, you realize that the universe itself has never aged. It has only ever transformed. Alan Watts often said that most people are not truly living. They are holding their breath, waiting for life to begin. They live as if real living will happen once they are successful, healed, or secure. But this waiting ages the soul. It drains vitality from the present moment and replaces it with the illusion of tomorrow. To appear younger than your age, Watts suggested, is to stop waiting, to exhale, to participate in the miracle that's already unfolding right now. Life does not begin in the future. It is happening in every breath, every sound, every heartbeat. When you awaken to that, time loses its grip and a quiet radiance takes its place. He believed that our obsession with youth comes from a misunderstanding of permanence. We try to freeze what is meant to flow, and in doing so, we lose both the movement and the magic. You cannot hold water in your hands without spilling it, he said. In the same way, you cannot hold life. It must move through you, or it will stagnate. People who seem to defy age have stopped clutching at permanence. They allow each moment to come and go freely, and because they do, life continues to flow through them, fresh, alive, and ever-renewing. Watts also spoke about the importance of wonder, the ability to look at the world as if seeing it for the first time. Children live this way naturally. Their eyes are wide open to the miracle of being. But adults, he said, lose this sense of wonder because they mistake knowledge for understanding. They believe that to name a thing is to know it. Yet the tree, the ocean, the stars, they remain mysteries, no matter how much science explains. The people who stay young are those who never stop marveling. They remain in love with existence, not as something to be explained, but as something to be experienced. That wonder, Watts said, is what keeps the spirit supple. It keeps curiosity alive, creativity flowing, and gratitude blooming. The old soul who has kept their wonder is not naive. They have simply refused to become numb. They can still cry at beauty, still laugh at absurdity, still feel awe in the ordinary. That aliveness, that openness, is the very heartbeat of youth. When you meet life with wonder instead of judgment, energy begins to circulate naturally. You don't resist the moment. You merge with it. And in that merging, the years lose their power to dull you. Watt summarized it best when he said, "The meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious, yet everybody rushes around as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. The one who appears younger than their age is the one who finally stops rushing. They are no longer striving for meaning. They are living it. They understand that the universe did not make a mistake in giving them this moment, this body, this chapter. To live from that understanding is to glow, not because of the absence of years, but because of the presence of being. In the end, Watt's taught that appearing younger than your age is not about resisting time. It's about transcending it. Time, he said, is only heavy when you believe it's real. When you see that it's simply a way of measuring change, you stop identifying with the number of years and start identifying with the changeless awareness behind them. The secret of youth, then, is not found in the mirror, but in perspective. It is found in the one who looks, not in what is seen. The face may alter, the body may shift, but the consciousness observing it all remains untouchable, timeless, infinite. He often invited his listeners to imagine what it would be like to wake up and realize you had been dreaming of being you. In that instant, he said, all fear of aging, all anxiety about time would disappear, because you'd know that the dream was just one of countless forms consciousness takes. The person who appears ageless has touched a fragment of this truth. They've realized that the self they defend, the image they polish, is only a temporary costume. Beneath it, they're the same eternal presence that existed before the first sunrise and will exist long after the last. Watt's believed that once this truth sinks in, a transformation begins. Life becomes lighter, laughter becomes easier, and aging becomes beautiful. The body may wrinkle, but the spirit expands. You no longer cling to the illusion of youth because you've found something far greater, the joy of being. That joy, he said, has its own radiance. It softens the face, brightens the eyes, and makes even the oldest soul feel newborn. It is not a performance. It's the natural glow of a being at peace with existence. He also pointed out that this inner freedom has a physical reflection. When the mind relaxes, the body follows. When the spirit stops clinging, the energy flows again. Every cell, every breath, responds to awareness. This is why some people seem to shine with an inner light no matter their age. Their being is not resisting life. It is embracing it completely. Watt would call this the grace of acceptance, a beauty that comes not from defying time, but from being utterly one with it. So, the deeper meaning of appearing younger than your age, in the language of Alan Watts, is the recognition that you are never truly aging to begin with. The years belong to the story, not the storyteller. The soul is untouched by time. It only wears it like clothing, changing it as it grows. When you realize that, you stop trying to appear young and simply are young, because the essence of youth is not found in the body, but in the timeless awareness that lives behind your eyes, the part of you that has been watching, ageless and alive, since the beginning of the world. In the end, Alan Watts would remind us that youth is not measured by how smooth your skin is, but by how open your heart remains. To appear younger than your age is to have remembered something most of the world forgets. That life was never meant to be a burden carried through time, but a melody danced moment by moment. The soul does not age. It only becomes hidden beneath the weight of worry, fear, and resistance. And when those layers fall away, when you allow yourself to live without the armor of expectation, you rediscover the simple wonder that was with you all along. That, Watts would say, is the true face of youth, the light of awareness unclouded by time. He believed that real youthfulness begins the moment you stop trying to appear young. Because to chase youth is to confess you've already lost it. True youth is effortless. It shines from within, from the one who is so present, so surrendered to the flow of life, that time itself forgets how to touch them. It is the energy of someone who has stopped asking life to be different and started falling in love with it as it is. The lines on their face are not marks of age, but the poetry of experience, the gentle handwriting of the universe on a soul that has learned how to live. What's often said that when you finally stop trying to become something, you discover what you already are, timeless. The river does not rush to be the sea. It already contains the sea within it. In the same way, you don't need to chase youth, because youth has never left you. It was simply waiting for you to slow down long enough to notice. When you realize that the endless struggle with time ends and life becomes lighter, you begin to laugh again, to move with ease, to see beauty everywhere, because you're no longer counting the moments, you're living them. And that's the essence of what Alan Watts called awakening. Not escaping time, but remembering that you are never bound by it. To live in harmony with change, to trust the flow, to marvel at existence without clinging to it. This is the secret the world calls youth. It's not found in years or appearances, but in presence. When you are fully present, life ceases to age you. It nourishes you. You become like the wind, ever moving, ever fresh, ungraspable, yet always here. If this reflection touched something in you, if it made you pause, breathe, or see yourself a little differently, carry that feeling with you. Let it remind you that your real youth was never lost, only forgotten. And if this message resonated, share it below. Tell me how you see time, how you feel when you stop fighting it. Subscribe to the channel for more of these explorations into awareness. And let's keep awakening together. Because the greatest secret of all, as Watts would say, is that you are not growing older. You are unfolding endlessly, beautifully, into the timeless dance of being.